Do you want some? Oreos?
I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Students across the nation have returned to the classroom, something one local leader in the world of sports wants to become the norm for all children, no matter where they're from. Ted Leonsis is chairman of Monumental Sports and owner of both the Washington Capitals and Wizards, is leading the charge to improve schools and fuel economic growth in the impoverished neighborhoods in D.C.'s Ward 8. According to the Washington Times, the initiative, which is called Forward 8, focuses on the advancement of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs in D.C. schools. And D.C. United has also gotten involved in this movement as well. Giving back to the community like this earns Leonsis, his organization, a lot of goodwill in the area they call home, and at the same time helping educate the workforce of tomorrow, which just so happens to be right in their backyard.
We're going to give the game of football back to fans.
I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow, and it's a busy time for WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, not only in the ring, but surprisingly on the gridiron as well. SmackDown, the WWE's long-running weekly wrestling program, is making the huge transition to network television, having recently signed a major deal with Fox to carry the 2-hour show every week, in addition to various original content spread out through Fox's many platforms. But perhaps more importantly, McMahon's XFL reboot continues to push toward its re-debut next season. 8 teams now have nicknames and logos, including the local squad, the DC Defenders. Team president Eric Moses recently analyzed the XFL's future path, stating that with McMahon's marketing prowess and virtually unlimited resources, quote, "If we can't get spring football to work, then it doesn't work." A new XFL, a league that promises to be far less gimmicky than the original, is set to kick off in February of 2020.
I'm extremely happy to bring part of what makes me who I am, my family as well, to that program, and just excited.
I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. He's one of the most dominant and popular athletes on the basketball court, but apparently he does like to limit himself to just one sport. Golden State Warriors superstar Steph Curry is an avid golfer, having even played professionally in several Web.com tour events and various televised Pro-Am events. And he's very, very good at it. Wanting to spread his love for the sport, Curry's graciously agreed to sponsor the creation of men's and women's golf teams at Howard University. His 7-figure donations to be paid out over the next 6 years and will give Howard the first Division I golf program in the school's 152-year history, a program the school had abandoned back in 1970. Athletics director Kerry Davis called it one of the most generous gifts in the history of Howard University. Curry has a lot of clout in the public eye, and now he's hoping to use it to share his love for golf. I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Sports have become part of the fabric that's American culture, but that could be changing soon if recent studies are any indication. According to a survey conducted by the National Federation of State High School Associations, participation in high school sports dropped for the first time in 30 years this past year. Now, in fairness, the total number dropped from a record high that was achieved in 2018. but there were also some jarring numbers in this report. For example, football participation declined for the 5th straight year and has now reached its lowest mark this century. Both boys and girls basketball also saw a decrease. However, several sports have seen participation numbers rise in recent years, especially lacrosse, soccer, and volleyball. A possible explanation for the slight drop? The growing trend of young athletes focusing on just one sport instead of playing many at the same time, like had been done in the past. I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Former Wizards great Michael Jordan remains active in the NBA as a team owner, but recently his earnest made headlines by selling off part of his ownership stake in the Charlotte Hornets. Jordan has agreed to sell a large piece of his ownership stake to 2 New York-based investors, and MJ had controlled 98% of the Hornets' equity, but will now take a step back with this sale. And according to the Charlotte Observer, Jordan is hoping to add investors with deep resources who might offer new ideas regarding technology advances. But it's got to be noted that the deal does not involve Jordan giving up a majority ownership of the team, and he reportedly plans on being the key decision-maker in Charlotte for a long, long time. This past February, by the way, Forbes magazine estimated the Hornets franchise was worth about approximately $1.3 billion, the 3rd lowest in the league. But keep in mind that Jordan purchased the organization back in 2010 for $275 million.